everyone, Nyonstar here, and back in 2017, my family and I were kicked out of our house. Now you may be wondering how I got into this situation, but let's start with some history about said house. It was around 2011 when we moved into this blue house. I was around 7 years old at the time. This is the first house I'd ever lived in since we lived in apartment buildings up to that point. It was a decently sized house with 3 rooms. The master bedroom where my parents stayed was actually a garage before it was remodeled. We had a pretty big backyard with a garage in the back. It had an alley behind it with a gate on one of the sides. My sister and I had rooms that were next to each other. Our closets were separated by a wall that we could talk to each other through. There was a bathroom next to her room that we never really used. My parents' room was through the kitchen, and their bathroom was after that. Needless to say, I was very fond of that house. It wasn't perfect by any means. I'd say 90% of the structure was probably made up of roaches. Hell, at night the carpet looked like it was moving. We also had a big problem with black widows. There was a whole nest of them right under my sister's mattress and egg sacs all over her stuff. But I still have good memories of the house. I mean, I spent 6 years growing up there. My little brother was born in that house. Despite the fact we owned the house, we knew we were getting kicked out for a while before it happened. When my late mother was pregnant, she had stopped working, and this made paying the mortgage complicated. So my dad got a deal to postpone the mortgage payments for a year. My brother was born in 2012, and when the year was up, we were ready to pay the mortgage again. But for some reason, they were bounced around to different managers. They kept having to gather and submit paperwork. Eventually, they landed on one woman who didn't want to do her job. My dad kept calling her, and eventually she said to submit our paperwork by Friday. It was Wednesday. My dad scrambled and managed to submit it on time. Despite his calls and messages, he only got a hold of her weeks later. That was when she told him that he was ruled against for not submitting paperwork. He was told that his paperwork was missing his check stubs. However, my dad knew for certain that it was in there. His theory is that the lady didn't want to look through it and just said he didn't submit it. This was when we hired a lawyer. We kept trying to get a court date for a ruling, and it took years. This is when my mother was diagnosed with cancer. Eventually, 3 years later, we were given a court date, and my dad assumed it was just the ruling, so he sent the lawyer in their place. The lawyer, however, didn't even remember what the case was. My parents tried to go, but it was hard with my mother being wheelchair-bound at this point, and we didn't have a car either. They ended up going to the wrong courthouse and missing the ruling. It didn't go well, and we had lost the house. The bank had also gone and sold our house before we even hired the lawyer, so someone had been waiting to move in. My parents warned us that we were getting kicked out and kept saying, "Next week, next week." I was in school when it happened. It was September 29th, 2017, and I was in the middle of English. I was called to the office saying that I was going home. This was confusing for me since, again, we didn't have a car. I found my dad and grandmother waiting for me. I was told that we lost the house and we were going to a hotel room. The police had come to tell us, and my mom had to call my dad from work. It was incredibly traumatizing to wake up in my house and not knowing it would be the last time. My sister moved out with her now ex and took Sarah and Ursa with her. Not like we could have taken Ursa to live in that small-ass hotel room. We took Casper, Toby, and the rabbits with us. We didn't stay in that hotel long since it was expensive. So 2 days into our stay, we walked everything over to a different hotel down the street. During all this, my dad had bought a storage locker and had been going back and forth to get as much of our stuff as possible. The police gave us a deadline of a couple days to get everything. One officer who felt bad left the back door unlocked for my dad to get in past the deadline. We didn't get everything. I lost a lot of my toys, we lost old tape recordings, we left about half of our stuff because we didn't have the room for it. I still get anxiety about losing things or leaving stuff behind when I move. The hotel room that we stayed in was one room with a hallway leading to the bathroom. It had one bed, and my brother and I had to sleep on mattresses on the floor. We had to hide our cat lest we were charged for having more than one pet, and the animals were cramped and sad just like all of us were. We were all unhappy and stressed. The cat hated the inspectors that would come, and he'd hiss at them, which is pretty out of character for him. We also had no money and celebrated Christmas with one of my mom's friends. That ended up being the worst Christmas I've ever had, but I'll make a whole video about that mess later. I hated staying there. My dad, mother, brother, and I slept in one room with only the bathroom as a reprieve. It was this hotel room that we had to get rid of our bunnies. We just didn't have the room and Kichi started peeing out of his cage. So on November 9th, 2017, we gave them to the Rabbit House Society. I was also in the 8th grade when we were kicked out, and my teachers expected me to do all the work they assigned like I wasn't stressed 24/7. Later in July is when we lost Mochi. My mother passed on July 28th, a little over 2 weeks after Mochi did. My sister visited a couple times a week, but it was strange not having her live with me. She was my mother's caretaker, but she still visited after Mother's death. I still don't remember everything that even happened in that room, because the trauma's been blocking it out. We stayed in that hotel room for a year. We moved out on August 25th, 2018. We moved into an apartment with 4 rooms and 2 stories. I liked it there even though it was a bit pricey and in a bad neighborhood. If it wasn't for the social security we got after our mother died, then we couldn't pay the rent at all. The management was also pretty bad. My brother's room and some of the closets were missing doors when we moved in, and the manager accused us of removing them. Luckily, these accusations didn't go anywhere, though I did record it when they moved in, and you can clearly see the lack of doors. We had to hide Casper again to avoid fees. Luckily, he knew when to hide from inspectors. We were relocated in late 2020 for them to remodel half of the apartments. We were supposed to move back in April at the latest. Anyway, we moved back in September. Yeah, they barely started working by the time the original estimation was up. The apartment we were relocated to was also much smaller, so we just had boxes piled up everywhere. We didn't stay long though, since my dad moved us to Texas back last February. But that's a story for another day. And there you have it. We were kicked out because of some bureaucracy mumbo-jumbo, and we've been pretty displaced ever since. I've been forced to move 5 times in the last couple years, 6 if you count the 2 different hotel rooms. I hope I can move into my own place somewhat soon, but I have no idea when. If I can move though, I'm totally moving back to Albuquerque. I hate it here. If you enjoyed this video, then you can let me know by hitting the like button. I think anyway. No one really knows what it does. You can also subscribe if you want to see what I upload next. Thank you for watching this, and have a good rest of your day. Bye! Hey, post-editing Mel here again. While the video's over, I have a couple updates that I'd like to get out of the way. So first things first, we're moving again! My dad's girlfriend apparently wants us out of the house, so we're gonna be moving again. Great! And the worst part is, we're not going back to Albuquerque. As it turns out, it was too much money to move here, and so we're not going back. So I'm gonna have to wait until I move out by myself to go back to Albuquerque. Next on the agenda is the sound quality. So for the first 3 videos, I used a microphone to record the sound, but for these 2, I'm just going to use my $10 headphones. So if you could watch this video and the last video and compare the sound quality to the first 3 videos, and see which one sounds better, I'd appreciate it. I just think it'd be very funny if my $10 Sony headphones sounded better than my $50 mic that I got. The last thing I'd like to talk about is that I'm at the end of making the 5 videos that I set out to make. Basically, I wanted to make 5 videos at first before uploading anything, so I'd have a nice 5 video backlog, and I finally reached the end. So, that's been nice. Anyway, I should probably let you guys go. See you later!